Hello and welcome to this video. My name is Caroline and I am going to try and film a video in answer to the second prompt of Ethony's 31 Days of Tarot 2020. And the prompt for today, even if we are not the 2nd of January, but anyway, the prompt is the top 5 decks of 2019. So this is my at least 10th time trying to film this video. The first time was 1 week ago, and I realized when I went to upload it yesterday night that the camera had a glitch midway, so there was a part missing. And today I've been trying to redo this video, but I've been trying, and every time something occurs and I have to do it again. Hopefully this is a good take and I will be able to upload it, hopefully. Okay, so the 5 top tarot decks for 2019, and I have 6 decks because obviously I can't make up my mind for only 5. 5 is a difficult number. So this deck is one of my most used, and not only for 2019 but also for the years previous from that. This is a Clover Tarot. Sorry, I was not centered. Clover Tarot, and I need to warn you that there is nudity in this deck. There is nudity in some other decks too, but there is a lot of nudity in this one, so you are warned. This is an independently published deck. It's published by the artist, and I love the art. I love the way the cards are represented. I think this one, for example, is a very empowering description for the card, for the 7 of Wands. So it gives me very positive readings. When I say positive, it does not mean that everything is easy and rosy. It means that it gives me readings that point to the truth of the matter, and also points me to actions to take. I think each card holds several layers of interpretation, and it usually gives me very deep readings. And everybody I have read with, everybody I have given readings to with this deck, everybody has commented on how beautiful it was and how much they liked it. So this is a Clover Tarot, and in my opinion it's an underrated deck. I really like it. Second deck is the Stella Tarot, a small little deck that feature very beautiful cards too, very beautiful art, full of colors. Unfortunately, it's not in print anymore. I hope it will come back in print someday. I really like it, and I think it's a very good little deck, and also gives very deep meanings. Very deep readings. It is not a pocket deck, but it is small enough that I can easily handle it and riffle shuffle, which I appreciate. So this was the Stella Tarot. I am not showing them in any particular order. I wouldn't be able to tell you which one I use the most anyway. This deck here is extremely well known, and I think you are going to recognize it, even though the edition I have is the French edition. This is the Tarot des Druides, which is the French edition for the Druidcraft Tarot. Extremely well-known deck. I like this deck very much. I find it very easy to read, and once again, everybody I have read with, everybody I have read to with this deck, sorry, my English sometimes is, well, a lot of the time I fear, but my English is not perfect. Everybody I have read with this deck have commented on how nice it looked and how much they liked it. For me, this deck is extremely easy to read. It's one of the easiest deck to read with, which is why I use it a lot. I have trimmed mine. The cards come in with 2 borders and they are extremely large, so I have trimmed my deck. This is the second deck I owned of the French version of the Druidcraft, because I used to have another one before, which I had trimmed and inked. Also, the green I had used for the first one was a little bit paler and more yellow. And in 2016 I had the visit of a friend from the United States, a lady friend from a lady friend who is American, and she came to spend some time with me in France. She liked the deck, so I gave her my copy, and then I repurchased the deck for myself, because I found that I could not live without it, and I trimmed it again and inked the sides again. So this is the second copy I own of this deck. This one is 4-year-old now. Okay, now we have one of my favorite deck ever, which is the Bohemian Gothic Tarot. I love this deck. I have a love story with this deck. I think a lot of people know that deck. It's pretty well known. I use it a lot, but I have to say that even though there is an undercurrent of dark humor in the deck, it does give me more pessimistic readings. It's a darker deck than many, so you have to keep it in mind when you read with this deck. But it does give very meaningful readings too, and I really like the deck. I don't know if the Devil card, yeah, I wanted to show you the Devil card for this deck, which I think is a very, very clever depiction of the Devil, and probably one of my favorite depiction of the Devil card. This is the first edition that I have here, and this edition I use mostly for myself at home. Not for myself, but I use mostly at home. And I also have a more recent edition, the 3rd edition, which is the one, the cardstock is a little bit different. The 3rd edition doesn't have the same backs, and this is the one I use more. I carry it in my purse and I take it out in the world. I am a little bit more comfortable reading with this one in public or out in the world where things happen, cards get lost, or get damaged because someone spills a drink on them or something like that. For some reason, I am more comfortable risking this deck outside of the home, and this one, the first edition, which is very difficult to find now. It's out of print and it's now very difficult to find. I prefer to keep it safe at home, and I use it mostly for readings at home. So these are the Bohemian Gothic. Well, basically I use all editions, but and this here is also a Baba Studio deck like the Bohemian Gothic, and it is the Victorian Romantic deck, which is also extremely famous and well known. And it is also one of my favorite decks and one I use a lot. It gives me excellent intuitive readings. It's very easy to read too. I love this depiction of the Eight of Wands. The edition I have here is a Russian edition, and like with the Bohemian Gothic, this Russian edition is not in print anymore, and I mostly use it at home. But I like to use it because even though I took Russian in high school and I should be able to read the titles, and I am able if I really put in the effort, but at first glance I don't always, well, I know that this is Imperator, but at first glance I don't always recognize the title, so I really have to go with the image. And when I read for someone else, usually people do not read Russian, so I can read without the title and the name of the card and the traditional Rider-Waite interpretation image for the card interfering with my reading. I really like that. I also have a more recent edition of the deck. The third, I think it's the third, maybe it's the fourth. No, this is the second edition. Well, I have several copies of this deck in several editions, but this one, which is I think is the second edition of the deck with the gold shielding, this one I have 2 copies of. So if I am going to take a deck outside in the world, it's going to be this one for safety reasons. I am very, very peculiar with my tarot decks, and I like to take a tarot deck with me outside when I go out, and I can read in parks or in on coffee shop tables, but I will always, no matter what, have clean hands. I will never touch any deck with hands that are not freshly washed, and I will not let anyone touch a deck if they have not freshly washed their hands. And I always use spread cloths. I have several spread cloths, and I always use one with when I handle the cards. So I am taking a lot of care with my decks. Oh, the last deck I wanted to mention in the decks I have used most in 2019 is a Marseille Tarot. I have several Marseille Tarot, and I cannot say that this precise one is the one I use the most. I just wanted to include a Marseille deck in the decks I use the most because I use Marseille decks a lot. I have several, and I could have chosen another one because I use all of them, and I don't think I have one that I use more than the others. This one I like because the cards are small and easily I can easily handle them. And some of the cards in this version I really like. This is the Jean Noblet tarot deck. It's not the original Jean Noblet. It's a reproduction, of course. Look at the face of this angel in the Judgment card. I really like it. This this particular edition is a copy of the Jean Noblet Marseille deck by a man, by a man named Jean-Claude Flournoy. I don't know if, oh, can you see that? Okay. And Jean-Claude Flournoy has been restoring and publishing several editions of several famous Marseille decks, so I really like the work he made on this deck. It's a very nice little deck. And he also published other famous Marseille decks. I just wanted to give shout out to two decks that are not amongst my most used, but almost, and I'm going to be very quick. This is the Mythical Creature Tarot by Baba Studio. This is a monochrome edition with very large cards. It's